Welcome back
to the Chiss Ascendancy.
Dang, hit that one out of the park. Nice.
Still the voice and everything.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I was trying to think of the Clone Wars voice. The Chiss Ascendancy!
Previously on Clone Wars.
Is that the same guy that does Legend of Korra?
No, Legend of Korra is like more like a transatlantic sort of thing where he's like,
look at here, see?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Legend of Korra.
Legend of Korra.
Here we go, yeah.
There
Chiss
was some
Ascendancy.
waterbending here, but you couldn't airbend. Now she can airbend, but then there's a bloodbender. That's pretty much what we...
And here we are, back at the Chiss Ascendancy. This is episode 17, 18, I don't know. One thing I'm not going to say is we made it. I've said that every single week since the dawn of time. Funny enough, I just said it.
While we're here, my one complaint about Korra is that there was too quick of a jump in technology, right? They went from like...
Oh, from Aang?
From barely knowing what metal is.
Yeah, when he's growing up...
Like airplanes and crap.
Aang is walking everywhere, and then by the time he's Boomer Aang... in his middle age. Yeah, it's like... Everything's electric, and I didn't like how the bending that was so rare 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Sorry.
Like one person can bend metal,
right.
Now they all can bend metal.
Right.
There's one lightning person, now they all do lightning.
Well, and then the other thing was that lava bending was a firebender thing, and they acted in Korra like it was some big deal, but you see it happen like 18 times in the Avatar series. It's always a firebending thing, and then now it's an earthbending thing. I don't know. Get your facts straight, Korra. Anyway, we're here to talk about Star Wars.
I also don't like how the spiritual world is like, I don't know. I feel like they did it often enough that you were like, oh, I wonder what that's about. But few enough times in Avatar that you didn't overdo it. And then I think they got to season 1 of Korra and it was all mapped out and it was great. And Amon and all that. And that's the best season. And then they go to the second one, they're like, what if we just did a bunch of gobbledygook? Spirit World, we'll call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of turns like an Adventure Time episode. And I was like, I'm not here for this. I'm trying to further my humanity by watching some Avatar. So, anyways.
Anyway. Now that that's out of the way.
I have no earthly clue what episode this is.
18.
18?
Good job, Adam. 18.
18. Almost.
2 decades old.
2 decades episodes. So let's jump into... So today we're going to talk a little bit about a guy named Cobb Vanth. And if you don't know who that is, you're probably 99% of the human population. And that's why we're here. But first, in the news today...
You went somewhere between like the news like...
That's what I was trying to do.
But then you went telegraph, which is...
Yeah, I got caught up. I've never actually done either one, and then my hand got up there and I got nervous and I peed. All right, so some news. Go ahead, I'll let you.
All right, so I guess the only real news thing we have to talk about, and let's try to spend less than 20 minutes on it this time.
News in the news.
Is that there's going to be a Cassian series.
Well, it's been established, but there's news from the series, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm working up to it.
Okay, sorry. Well, you said is there going to be, or no, there is.
There is.
I know.
It was a definite statement.
The way that you said it made me think that you were announcing the series itself. It's my opium!
So, obviously this is going to take place before Rogue One, because if you haven't seen Rogue One, kill your interest in Star Wars, I guess. I don't know. But he dies yourself. At the end. He dies at the end of it. So
now here's the thing. Do you think
enjoy Rogue One?
Do you think him and Jen kissed? Do you think so?
I don't know. Who cares? They're both dead now. So,
dude, you're there and you see the Death Star blast, and you've got... How long do you think you have? How long do you think you have before...
Not long enough. Not long enough. I know where you're going. The answer's not long enough.
I think it could scare out of you.
I'd be too distracted to...
I think it could scare it out of you. I think that you would be determined to finish the business.
For what?
Because you're about to die. What else is there?
It's the last thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't.
Cassian and what's her name, Bunny Teeth, Jyn Erso, were daggum. They're just snuggling. It's the end of the world.
Yeah, you know what I would have done? I would have punched her in the mouth and been like, "This has been your fault since I was 6 years old. I was in that fight since I was 6 years old, and suddenly it's real to you, and you screw it up." Yeah.
So anyway,
K2 is dead because
play Rogue One because Cassian's still alive, and we haven't gotten to Rogue One yet.
Right.
Mostly supposed to be around him and K2, which is great.
K2 is the best new droid since Disney made Star Wars stuff.
For sure.
I like BB-8, but I don't like it when I feel like they're trying to make you like. I don't like it when people try to. What's the word I'm looking for? Manufacture something. You know what I mean? Like they try to push it on you.
Like how they manufacture a droid.
I don't like it whenever.
How perverse. Droids making droids.
I don't like it whenever it's just present to me the item, and if I like it, I like it. But I don't like how there was less and less marketing or less and less screen time with R2 or 3PO.
Yeah, like they were trying to like shove R2 out of the picture so BB-8 could take over.
Yeah. Maybe that's not what they were trying to do, but that's what it felt like.
It's what they were trying to do.
But I loved K2SO.
Yeah, I really enjoyed K2SO. I loved his personality.
I also like that Alan Tudyk didn't have to wear a suit, and that really pisses Anthony Daniels off.
I like that.
Because since 77, he's been like choking in that freaking...
There's no way you could...
I've never wiped my butt before.
...fit a human in that type of...
Yeah,
like
it's
the
just...
limbs are too skinny.
Right. It's just really hilarious.
I like how many memes you can make out of his lines.
K2?
Yeah, his quotes are very memeable.
Yeah, like, you can put anything and put, "It's very high."
Yeah.
Yeah. K2. Yeah. How come she gets a gun and I don't? Yeah, K2 was awesome.
Yeah, he's got great zingers. But the big news about the Cassian series is that it was hinted, but it's probably gonna happen, that Bail Organa will make an appearance.
Jimmy Smith. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. You know, Jimmy Smith's. You know who'll be excited for that? Our dad.
Why?
Because he's one of the main two guys in NYPD Blue.
Oh.
It's gonna remind our dad to go watch some more NYPD Blue. What's that you're watching? I don't know the guy's. I don't know Jimmy's name in that show. Let's say it's Bob, and he's like, "Oh, that's an interesting outfit Bob has on. Is this NYPD Blue?" No, dadgummit. It's the Cassian Andor series.
We were watching Rebels.
Yeah.
And Dad happened to be in the living room, and Darth Maul was introducing himself as he really is to Ezra, and he's like saying his name, and he's like, "Maul," and then my dad goes, "More?" And I didn't have the energy to even address it, and I was like, "Let's see where he's going."
More, dude.
See where he takes this.
Nothing will ever top the Harry Potter marathon moment.
When Dad
probably 5 years ago, 6 years, maybe 7 years ago now. We watched Harry Potter over our. I remember it was a long time ago because I was still in college.
And we took mattresses and we put them it was just like the whole downstairs living room was like one massive bed.
Mm-hmm. And we were like, we're gonna watch all the Harry Potters with Dad because I don't think he had seen them.
And he still probably hasn't seen half of them because whenever we start a movie that we've picked to watch, it means it's time to do the dishes.
Also, he will be snacking during the movie, and
it'll be some distracting snacks like peanuts, where he's actually focused on the.
So loud.
He'll be focused on the peanut the whole movie. But anyway, we're in.
It's so loud. He's just only having an internal dialogue.
Deathly Hallows Part 2, and Harry.
We're
and Jimmy
9 movies
kiss.
in, or 8 movies in, or
and,
whatever.
You know, this romance has been worked up for at least 3 movies now.
Yeah.
And Dad goes, "Who's this witch?"
Hermione Granger. She's only been the third main character the whole time, or second main. Whatever.
It was Ginny. He didn't know.
Oh.
He didn't know Ginny. Ginny and Harry kiss, and he goes, "Who's this witch?" And I was like, "Oh my god."
Ginny. Oh. I was thinking it was when Hermione says something smart like to Ron.
No. It's when.
My memory fades.
It's when Ginny and Harry have their big kiss.
Oh yes.
Smoochy.
My memory. It's because of the opium.
Not again.
How many weeks in a row can I mention opium? That's the new challenge. More?
And then I'll be like, week 3, we made it.
Shut up.
Week 3.
So, anyways.
That's the news.
So Jimmy Smits, I think is his name, possibly playing. And then, second news.
Well, what's his name in NYPD Blue? I know you're looking it up.
Detective Bobby Simone.
Bobby Simone. Is that Bobby Simone up there? I didn't know that Bobby Simone's daughter was Princess Leia. How did they bring Carrie Fisher back from the dead for Bobby Simone?
When does Dumbledore come on?
Who's this witch? The second news from the Cassian series.
Frodo?
And it's kind of, at this point, we're just grasping at straws. But, I don't remember the actress's name, but the young lady who played Enfys Nest.
Yeah,
Her music was sick from Solo.
Yeah, it was.
But,
yeah, I have no idea what her name is.
I don't remember the actress's name, but...
Adam's on it.
Pull that up, Jamie. She was talking she's an actress, so she's doing an interview for some such thing, and they asked her Erin Kellyman.
Oh, that's an easy name.
Yeah,
that's
hopefully I remember that.
Two first names and what I am, a man.
Bobbyman. So, Erin Kellyman is Enfys Nest, and they're talking to her, and they asked her, obviously Solo really sets up the birth of the rebellion in a weird way, because it's factions from all over are trying to fight for their freedom, and Enfys Nest turns out, loop-de-loop, swoop, she's not a bad guy, she's a freedom fighter, and she's also 12. So anyways, so at the end, there's the whole "you could come with us." It's kind of cool because it's the whole "you can come with us" thing, and Solo was like, nah, which is so Han Solo. And then 10 years later, A New Hope happens. But anyways, she was recently doing an interview, and they were asking her, do you see yourself in the Cassian Andor series, seeing as you kind of are the start of the rebellion, you start giving, the coaxium and things, like she's kind of working with them. Also because if you, at the end when they all pull their helmets off and they reveal themselves at the end of Solo, Two Tubes.
Professor Flitwick.
Yeah, you have that guy. The guy who plays Wicket.
Yeah.
But Two Tubes is there. Mm-hmm. And he's Saw Gerrera's right-hand man, and Saw works hand in hand with the rebellion towards the beginning of that whole thing. So they asked her what are the chances she could be, in the Cassian Andor series, and she was very prevaricating about the bush.
No use prevaricating about the bush.
So
if you haven't watched the
Wallace and
Gromit crossover with Star Wars, though, where Wallace is Palpatine, look it up right now.
On YouTube?
Pause this, open up a new tab, go to youtube.be.
Why is it BE?
That's what it is. Like, if you type in youtube.com, it'll take you to youtube.be. It's like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just a joke. And then you go into the search bar in YouTube and you type in Wallace and Gromit Palpatine. And enjoy yourself.
Well...
And then close that tab and then come back to this.
Yeah. Don't leave us on pause. Or at least get most of the way so we get the view. Sheesh. So, anyways, so she was very like, hush, hush, I won't mention it. But to me, whenever you're growing up and you're like, do you like that girl? To your friend at lunch, and they're like...
You're like, I pulled her pigtail, didn't I? What do you want me to do, spit in her coffee? I can't be that bold.
But I feel like whenever someone says no, it's a no.
No.
But if they're like, I don't know.
You're like,
That's... That's a yes. So to me, that gives me hope. It would be really cool to have the Cloud Riders and the Cassian Andor series.
Also, if the answer was no, you have no reason to not be like, nope.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And even if you do that, you're probably Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan. All right, well, opium's back on the menu, boys. If you can make a poop joke, I can make an opium joke.
The third one, yeah. You can do that.
Anyways, so Jimmy Smits probably back on board as Bail Organa, but
they're gonna have to do some Legolas and the Hobbit type stuff.
They need to hurry up because he's getting old.
Yeah, he's already.
You know what voice that is? It's my opium voice. So you got Jimmy Smits probably playing Bail Organa. That would be super cool. You know what? Cassian's the kind of series that I like Cassian Andor, but I'm not so invested that I mind if they just overload us with original trilogy characters. Like the Mandalorian, I'm like, leave him alone. Nobody come in here. But with Cassian, I'm like, is
somebody in here?
Bring on Leia. Hey, let's do a cameo of Tatooine Luke at 14 years old for no reason. Cool. Just, I want to see all the original trilogy characters.
Buying some power converters. He's such a wiener.
Dude, he is a wiener.
I was watching through it as an adult. You know,
yeah, I don't like Kylo Ren. And I'm like, okay, Boomer, you grew up with Luke Skywalker who literally crapped his pants when his uncle was like, shut your mouth and get up there and mow the sand.
Get the sand blower and move stuff around. I don't care. Get out of my face.
Last episode on episode of Korra.
Whenever I do Uncle
not Uncle Ben. That's Spider-Man.
It's not
Uncle Owen?
Uncle Owen! Emperor! Anyway, I don't know why I did this voice. I sent you that video where I was like, I gotta clean up and get ready for dinner. I was like, I want to go to Toy Station and get some power converters. You know, he was just like a cartoon 9-year-old.
It's just funny because
freaking Caillou out in Tatooine.
Oh my god! Don't even get me freaking started on Caillou. That piece of trash.
I thought that I was the only one who hated Caillou.
Kids growing up watching Caillou is why young adults are the way they are today.
Until I realized how many other people hated Caillou, and I was like, it's the children who are wrong.
Dude, Caillou sucked. Ugh. Like, if my mom was like, hey, let's go swimming, and I was like, I don't want to swim, she'd be like, well, get your boo in the pool anyway. And Caillou's like, I don't want to. I hate you. I'm probably an orphan. I'm also deaf. Never gonna catch me.
Oh, dear. Anyway.
What? Who's gonna get offended at that joke? Huh? Not the people listening.
YouTube makes closed captions now.
Hey, if someone can't hear but they want to read 20 minutes into this episode, be my guest. So, today... Never gonna catch me. Today we're talking... Oh, sorry, it's the end of our illustrious career. We're gonna lose so many sponsors. Adam's gonna be here next week, I promise. Our one benefactor.
Adam, whose wife works with deaf people.
Yeah, so he
gets it. Scared him away. Good job. Anyway, let's get to the real nitty-gritty.
Nitty-gritty. Let's do it.
So today, I'm just going to push this baby up.
This nachos treating you good, huh?
Oh, yeah, they were delicious. Had some nachos.
I had Taco Bell, so we need to wrap this thing up quick.
Yeah, Josiah was like, I'm having Taco Bell, and I was like, well, I was making myself some nachos. We're hanging out. Two of a kind. Anyway, we're going to talk about Cobb Vanth. If you don't know who Cobb Vanth is, or the person who's been casted to play him, Timothy Olyphant, just go watch a series called Justified, and you'll get a pretty good picture of both of those people.
Justified!
Because Josiah and I were reading through the interludes in the Aftermath series.
This actually is a really cool series because, you like that? It's first of all, it has some amazing cover art. As you can see. Yes. The only thing I don't like, side note, is that the covers for these are like very matte feeling, and then this one's more shiny feeling.
Yeah, I don't like it when covers are inconsistently gloss or matte.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, but
so the Aftermath trilogy, written by Chuck Wendig, which is pretty cool because Chuck was mostly a comic guy, and kind of jumped onto the novel train a little bit. But the Aftermath trilogy is basically immediately after Return of the Jedi. What happens? Because when Return of the Jedi ends in 1984, I want to say, and that's the end of Star Wars.
1984, you say?
I think so.
by George Orwell.
Hey, look that up, Jamie. 1984.
I was just making a joke about the novel entitled 1984 that we actually happen to be living in, with all these thought police people telling me not to do stuff.
But when that happened, it's kind of like the end. It's similar to the end of Rise of Skywalker. Like, yes, many things are better, but many things are loose ends. You know, like, how do you? There's no way.
What they do to. I like what they do to Jar Jar.
You do?
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Because
You don't like him?
He goes against everything I believe in.
A Sith, yes. I'm just kidding.
He's just so annoying, dude.
I get that.
I
really
feel
do.
about him like Qui-Gon Jinn feels about him. For like 80% of the Phantom Menace.
Here's how I feel. I feel like Jar Jar was made to get the kids on board in the Phantom Menace.
They make him
and it
a
worked.
clown, and everybody hates him. And the world is right.
Everyone but the kids. And that's what's so sad but beautiful, because when we were kids, we did like him.
Yeah.
I still like him.
I liked him only because Dad hated him so much. I liked him for that, because I thought it was funny to watch Dad get worked up about Jar Jar.
What you doing in here?
But as an adult, independent of Dad's opinions about Star Wars, I'm like, ugh.
I really like him still. I literally, think about this. Black Series 6-inch Star Wars figures. Every once in a while I get really excited. Like Count Dooku, I was like, yeah, bring it on. Hoo mama. And then the Clone Commanders, every time there's not just a clone trooper, but a commander, I get real excited. Mm-hmm. Commander Bly, I had pre-ordered, and then Amazon frickin' canceled my order. Idiots. Idiots. But if they announced a Jar Jar 6-inch figure, I would be pre-ordered for like 4. 1 to play with, 1 to keep boxed, a 3rd just in case, and a 4th for trade.
To light on fire.
Yeah. So in this series, one of the coolest things that Chuck does, mind if I call you Chuck? Is that every couple of chapters, so we're going through chapter 3, and then boom, on page 41, just by happenstance, it says interlude. And what that means is, it's like not what it means in real life, we know what an interlude is, but what the point is in the books is that it's like you stop the main storyline,
right,
and you're checking in across the galaxy to other places to see how the end of the war between the Rebellion and the Empire is affecting that place.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar to another series Josiah and our fans are, the Marcus Heights Dwarf series.
Yes.
And in the first book, there's
Germany.
There's a entr'acte, which means in between acts. It just gives a backstory on one of the characters. So
which character is it?
That would be the transition from Dawn
to New
Teen.
Oh, yes. So similar to that, you've got your main character, and
I guess it would be New Teen to No Dawn, but nobody here knows that probably.
Yeah. So you have your main group, and there's like an ex-Imperial, there's all the other guys, and they're part of this crew or whatever. Similar to Rebels, like it's a hodgepodge of people. But then in between, there's interacts, there's interludes that, there's one that checks in on Han and Chewie. They're going to go liberate people on Kashyyyk. There's one that checks in on Lando. There's one that checks in on, I think, Mon Mothma on Trandrilla. And there's one that checks in on the Acolytes of the Beyond, and they buy or discover Darth Vader's lightsaber after everything's done. And that's, when these were coming out, we had just gotten The Force Awakens. And so I was like, oh my God, I lost my lightsaber Ren? And, because this is 30 years before, so maybe that's where it all started. We still don't really know. There's a character in here that we really felt like was Snoke. Joke's on me. But there is a specific interlude that is on Tatooine, and that's where Cobb Vanth comes from.
Yep.
So I'm going to read that. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But towards the end of the book, interlude, feed, blah, 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 blah. I'm really going to go back and read that Jar Jar one because it was so sad. But most of the way through the book, 300-something pages in, you have an interlude there. and you meet a guy, and he's a representative. I guess we can just jump into the story of kind of the backstory and why it's important for who this is. But in this, the original Aftermath, there's a character that is representative for like a mining corporation, and he's looking for stuff that's rare among the Jawas, and he's looking in their sandcrawler, and then some country boy walks in and is like, "You lost, fella?" And basically he's like, when you're working with the Jawas, you don't just walk in and tell them what you want. It's rapport. You got to gain trust with them. And so he's like, "I've been through here a couple of times, so they'll take me where we want to go." And they go into like a secret compartment that has like the good stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like, kind of like with Uncle Owen, it's like, this droid's got a bad motivator. Like they sold him, some crap.
Or it could be like in, from a certain point of view, that one story about this single Jawa that had, even within the Sandcrawler, his own nest of things, and he was watching some droid's memories.
He just like collected memories and would watch stories from other droids' lives, which is a pretty cool concept. It was like his way of getting away from Tatooine.
Yeah, but anyway, it's like just like a secret.
So yeah, you get into the
Raven's nest of higher collectibles.
Right, you get into the inner sanctum of the Jawas stuff, and they're going through, and there's all this. There's real stuff. There's astromechs. There's like when I picture it, I imagine where they actually kept R2 and C-3PO in A New Hope, because this is where a lot of the functioning droids still are. So they go in there, and this guy's like, they discovered this Mandalorian armor, and it says that it's got all kinds of scratches and pock marks, and it looks like it's been sitting in acid, but it's still holding together. Like it's not broken, but it looks like it's been through some crap.
Yeah, maybe stripped clean of its colors a little bit.
Maybe. That's an interesting thought that we'll revisit. But anyways, Cobb Vanth, the cowboy character that like already knows the Jawas.
Space Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, he's like, "And I'll be taking that." And the guy's like, "No, I'm taking it." And he's like, "No, I'm taking it. I'm the law around here." And basically, the guy tries to draw on him. And
very much like his character in Justified, shoots the other guy first.
Yeah, shoots the other guy first.
And he was justified.
Yeah. Swing. He said it. But the point is that he's peaceful about it. Like he shoots him in the shoulder through and through, and it just basically doesn't kill the guy, but it hurts him enough that he drops the helmet, and he picks it up, and he's like, "Now go tell your boss. I know that you're not some mining corporation. You're a bunch of thugs trying to take over because there's a vacancy with Jabba gone." And so he leaves, and then boom, Cobb Vanth has Boba Fett's old armor, we assume. Well, then you move on to Aftermath Life Debt, and do you remember that story?
This would be the Beastmaster one?
Yeah, I want to kind of go back and forth so I don't talk for 20 minutes.
All right, straight. So what's that feller's name?
Malakili.
Malakili. Remember that because I won't be saying it again. If you watch Return of the Jedi, he would be the guy that's wearing the leather do-rag and no shirt and cries when the Rancor's killed by a giant gate.
Dude, imagine a leather do-rag.
It's what he was wearing. It was like that hat that the dad from My Fair Lady was wearing. Like, I don't understand the purpose of it. It looks like it'd do more harm than good.
Yeah, I think it's like a block from the sun before they had good materials.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, so he's a Beastmaster, and he's trying to kill himself because he worked his way up to bigger and better beasts, and then his Rancor was killed, and then his boss was killed. He had nothing left to live for, and he was going to throw himself into the Sarlacc pit, except for the Sarlacc's now ruined because the sand speeder exploded, or what is it called? The
skiff?
The skiff exploded, and it was damaged, and then Jawas basically took it apart, a la The Force Unleashed, when the Empire have like this base inside the Sarlacc for some reason, and that level's a pain in the butt. And you have to, hide behind walls while
There's a level inside of the Sarlacc pit?
There's a level inside of a Sarlacc pit in The Force Unleashed.
And are you, like, inside of its innards?
No, you're inside of it.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess what I mean is...
No, I mean, like, you are inside the beast itself.
Correct.
Like, it's breathing and it's sucking you in.
Okay, so that was my next question. My follow-up question was, I thought you said there was a base under there.
Yeah, they have a base on the inside of a Sarlacc.
So there's like hallways?
Yeah.
Metal hallways?
Yeah, like it's like...
But it's like bending and flexing with the...
Like they just have like tunnels running through it and stuff like that. Yeah. But
that's
it's
wild.
Super frustrating to get through there. Anyway, they're doing that, and you assume that's how the Jawas had gotten the armor out to begin with.
Right.
And then he's running away. The Red Key, whatever you want to call them, thugs, basically see him, and they want to track him down. Basically, they're trying to collect a road tax.
Road tax, Your Highness.
So, Lucius Malfoy chases him down and kicks him over, takes his satchel. It's not a purse.
Yeah, he's got like an over-the-shoulder thing going, and he's got like 3 things in there.
Yeah,
water.
he's got his fanny pack, right, and he's got a water skin in there that they drink, which just
dude, that one gets me because we live in Houston. Right. So imagine you're like going for a run or for a walk or whatever, and you're dying of thirst, and some idiot comes up behind you and is like, "You want this?"
True story. Dad and I were sea kayaking in Alaska, and I had my water bottle. We're like halfway on the trip, and Dad's like, "Hey, I forgot my water bottle. You mind if we share?" And I was like, "The frick I do." I was like already livid because you're kayaking. Yeah, it's like a 3-hour trip, and he's like, "You want to share this bottle that's like this big?" And I was like, "No. Wait, what am I gonna do? Like let this guy with diabetes die?" So I give him some of my water, but there's a picture of us, and I'm like. You're not happy. You can tell I'm still holding a grudge in the picture.
You're like, I'm going to slip you a Skittles in your sleep. See how you like that?
I was like, wonder if those seals would like live dinner. Throw them overboard.
That would be wild.
Anyway.
Can he swim?
Not better than a seal.
Fair enough. Or a freaking orca. Dude, that would be...
Dude, we did see some orcas.
While you were kayaking?
Not while we were kayaking, but right by there. We were in a cave, or a cove.
Crap my pants.
But we did get to see some live orcas. That was pretty ballin'. We were in a bigger boat when we saw those. But like, moms and their babies and stuff like that. Anyway, so they chase, what's-his-face, the do-rag down.
Malakili.
And they knock him over, and they're taking his stuff. And
he has a water bottle. He has a shiv, like a little knife.
Yeah, made out of a bone. And then he has like some
shiny
chits to pay off, some sand people or some Jawas.
To either pay for something from the Jawas or to pay off the sand people so they don't murder him. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing he has in the whole world. And he already feels like he's going through this depression, like he doesn't feel like he's eating.
Right, he was literally trying to kill himself, and then he was depressed that he couldn't kill himself because they destroyed
his thoughts were, maybe I can train the Sarlacc. That's the only thing bigger than the Rancor that I haven't trained. And if I can't train, I'll just jump in its mouth. Yeah. Which sounds terrible. Like, it's not like jumping into shark-infested waters. Like, Jabba literally throws people into the pit of Carcoon because they're going to be digested for 1,000 years.
Yeah, but I think about that, but I'm like, they would...
But you die in a couple of weeks.
I'd be like, you die of dehydration with 72 hours tops.
Maybe.
But anyway,
that's crazy.
So they chase him down, and then...
Right as they're about to give him a what for?
Timmy Fett shoots them all down. He's got him, and he's got this Twi'lek chick with the double blasters, very...
Malgusy?
Very Malgusy. And except for she's got her scars and stuff too, so didn't steal that idea. Mm-hmm. And they have found out that they renamed the town Freetown.
Yeah, the town most
super original.
You got Mos Espa, which is where Anakin was. You have Mos Eisley, which is where Luke was.
Kind of, yeah.
Went toward a wretched hive of scum and villainy. But then you have Mos, whatever this thing was, and they, like you said, they renamed it Freetown because the idea is
it's a free town.
It's a free town. The idea is we're in a lawless time, but instead of seeing that as a negative, it's as much as the syndicates can try to set up, we can try to establish,
take advantage of the chaos and try to establish rule of law.
Yeah, a free system. And so they basically say, "Can you do anything?" And he's like, "No, like all my animals are dead." And they're like, "Well, you train animals?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they say there's a couple of Rontos, and they have a hut. They have a baby hut.
They ask him if he could train them, and he's like, "It's a sentient being." He's like, "Fine, teach him then." Which tells you how Cobb feels about the huts.
Yeah, he's like, well.
But the thing is that the huts are trying to figure out who to establish in charge of Jabba's empire, which is
massive,
substantial. And he's thinking if he can get a hut, it's basically under his control. That would be his end to kind of take over, in that sense, on Tatooine.
Right. So that's the end of From Life Debt. And then the third and final book in the trilogy is Aftermath Empire's End. And when you first, the scene opens, you're already in Freetown, and the Red Key Mining Corporation, but they're really, like we said, a crime syndicate, have taken over the town. And they've killed or beat up most of the town. And they're basically saving the best for last, and they're going to kill, I assume they're going to kill Cobb Vanth. And the guy's like, man, you put on a strong man's armor to hide your weaknesses. Like, he's just like giving him what for. And long story short, they're like, man, you thought you had a hut here and this was just going to keep you safe. Like, this hut's so small, this and this and this. And the hut starts crying, and then basically it's like thunder, and people are like, what's going on? And busting through the front gate is the biggest, the book says, bigger than anything he's ever seen, a bantha comes through the front gate, which a bantha is like a Star Wars elephant. Like, literally elephants with fur on when they were filming.
But not like elephant horns. Think somewhere between like
a giant
think somewhere
ram.
between like a mammoth and a mountain goat.
Yeah, just huge.
Yeah.
And this one apparently was like massive, and they said that the Tusken Raider that was riding it was the largest Tusken anyone had ever seen, which is pretty wild. And so they come in there, and Tuskens are barbarians, dude. But there's also a culture there. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're very like, they have their own culture going on. They're not just wild. And so when the bad guy turns, and the gang leader is looking around like, you're crazy, what's going on? Because they could tell that it had been planned. And he goes, surprise, surprise, we struck a deal with the Tuskens, and we'll provide them with water, which is sacred to the Tuskens. And that's why they had issues with, like when they kidnapped Anakin's mom, it's because they didn't like that there were moisture farmers. So Cobb Vanth, who's the lawman and kind of the mayor of this town, says, hey, when we find water, like, we're going to split it with you as long as you protect us. And so they're prior slaves that are free, and the Tuskens honor that. Mm-hmm. They are honoring the sacredness of the water and are willing to give them some of the water that they dig up, so they like that. And the fact that they have a baby hut with them is kind of like a, mad respect thing. And so the last thing he says is, you think I stole this armor? I say I earned it. And maybe I'll die, but I'll die protecting this town. And while I'm still here and while Freetown's still a thing, we're going to reestablish a new style of law and order around here. And then it says he reaches out and says, now let me carve a message into your face.
Which is some very Inglourious Bastards type stuff, where he wants to be able to see those Nazis in a uniform or not.
Nazi scalps. 100 Nazi scalps.
We don't like that.
I was really impressed with Brad Pitt's slight underbite in that movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Imagine for a year and a half just doing this a little bit. Nazi scalps. I want 100 Nazi scalps. Nazi.
So that's not, I don't like that.
So that's Cobb Vanth.
Slaughter Nazis like that.
Now, help the folks at home explain, why is Cobb Vanth a big deal?
So,
why is this character even important?
And unless you haven't, not read these stories, or you haven't fallen in love with his character at this point, if you read this and you have watched Justified, you're already going to picture Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, as I was reading it,
it's like everything about this character just embodies him. To me, perfect casting. I love the actor. I love the role. I love the idea that The Mandalorian is supposed to be a Western, and this is going to take that one step further. The big thing that's, some of the questions that are now raised is in response to what happened. What was it, episode 5 of season 1 of Mandalorian? Where at the very end there was the foot of a character who was wearing Boba Fett's armor. They had Boba Fett's, iconic sound effects. I think it's interesting that if he did, which it's canon now, so if he did take his armor, he also got his boots somehow. That just kind of amuses me to think about that kind of stuff. Yeah. But
is the boots part of the get up?
Right.
I guess is the question.
And so, he has a cape. It's Boba Fett to a T. You know what I mean?
The thing that's weird to me, and I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but basically, as of last week or this week, Timothy Olyphant has been cast for The Mandalorian Season 2. Mm-hmm. And it came out real quick that he's playing Cobb Vanth. Mm-hmm. Like, it's been like, boom, boom. And which was interesting because when we've covered the Rosario Dawson Ahsoka stuff, when we've covered the Temuera Morrison Boba Fett or Rex stuff, things like that, it's been more... they've been cast, but they're not going to say who, but it's probably this person, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, that was kind of the main question with Temuera Morrison is, well, dadgummit, Ahsoka's coming back, so is it going to be Rex or is it going to be Boba Fett? That makes more sense, to us. But when this news broke, it wasn't just Timothy Olyphant cast. It was Timothy Olyphant cast as Cobb Vanth for Mandalorian Season 2. Mm-hmm. And so, one thing that was strange to me about the end of that Mandalorian episode is, one, are they trying to throw us off the scent on purpose with the sound effects? I hope not. But the thing that was strange to me was the cape is by his ankles, which is Mandalorian, but Boba Fett's cape doesn't go that low.
I mean, he'd have to get a new cape.
So maybe. Anyways.
No capes.
No capes.
No capes.
Sucked into a vortex. But the question now is, I had read the books before, but I hadn't really... it had been a couple of years since these had come out, and I don't think you've read them before. And so today I brought these over and we were kind of reading over those specific interludes to kind of refresh our minds. Because I sent you the Wikipedia stuff, and looking over that's good, but to actually read the material is different. And it really made me like the character even more. Like, it kind of reminded me of how cool of a character he was again.
Very cool character.
Now, the hard question is, him being Cobb Vanth makes me more nervous that Temuera Morrison is playing Rex versus Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. And it also makes me nervous for Boba Fett's mortality rate in Mandalorian. Because he's not this guy's a very moralistic-based character. Mm-hmm. He wants to do what's right. He wants to fight for freedom. He's trying to establish a new type of system. That's not Boba Fett's style. You know what I mean? So, perhaps. Maybe there's got to be... I don't know. I just am very curious to see...
how it all fits together.
And will there be all three of them on screen at once?
The other thing is that it was never 100% confirmed, even though it was heavily implied, that Cobb Vanth got Boba Fett's armor.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it says the Jawas got a hold of it, and it says the Jawas were excavating, like, weapons and stuff from
the
Sarlacc, but the thing about Jawas on what?
There's a sound.
Cicadas.
Oh my god. Freaking plagues. There
are a bunch of Jawas. There are a bunch of different Jawas. Like each.
The thing that they say though that really heavily implies it is that in the room they go into that has the quote unquote good stuff, is there are pieces of Jabba's sail barge in that back room. Mm-hmm. And next to the pieces of Jabba's sail barge are the pieces of Mandalorian armor that are in a box.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is our latest haul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really feels like it to me. And is Cobb Vanth the kind of character who will be like, nope, this is my armor now? And
for sure.
And Boba Fett's like, I don't think so. You know?
Could you ever see Cobb Vanth being like, fair's fair, I guess this is yours?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Is that he's
it's a nice hat.
But he's a moralistic based character.
Yeah, but he says he earned it, which means it's his now. Find your keepers.
That's true.
You know
that's
what I mean? Like, that's how he views it. And he's seeing it as a tool. It's a means to his end, which means he's not going to give it up. Mm-hmm.
I think he knows. I think for him, it's kind of like when a character, like when Rango puts on a badge and he starts to dress like a lawman. Mm-hmm. Like, to him, it's like, this lets everybody know right off the bat that I mean business.
Right. Well, and if Cobb saw Boba as a righteous person, that he's like, oh, he needs this more than I do, which he doesn't. But if he was like, yeah, this guy is a good guy, you know, he's going to do good things with this armor, mm-hmm. he would probably give it up in that sense, but I don't think he would view Boba Fett that way, and I don't think Boba Fett would ask politely either.
Yeah, it's weird. It's strange for me personally because as a Boba Fett fan growing up, if I was going to buy a Star Wars book, I'd be like, so which one about Boba Fett haven't I read yet? And so you've got the Mandalorian Armor series, which comes after Episode 6, the Bounty Hunter Wars, and then specifically his role in the Legacy of the Force series, and also in the New Jedi Order series, I guess it's called, the war between them and the Yuuzhan Vong, which is 19 books long. I am not doing that. So, but I'll Wikipedia or whatever. But that Boba Fett character starts to have more of a for the greater good kind of vibe to him. Like he saves Han on more than one occasion, or he
he's no good to him dead.
Right. Yeah. And then he's also like towards the end of Legacy of the Force, you've got Jason Solo and you've got Jaina Solo, and Boba Fett trains Jaina because he knows that Jason needs to go down. So he'll work with a Jedi if it means survival for the Mandalorian people and stuff like that. So it's weird because in my head I'm thinking if Boba does come back and it is Tamir Morrison and all those kind of things, I'm already thinking like my mind already goes towards this is the type of character. But how they portray him in Clone Wars, if he stays in that vein, he's much more aggressive, much more entitled.
He's going to be fresh off a Jedi. So it's not going to be somebody who's had character development for another, 15 years?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still going
but it is 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years is not a long time for somebody to completely change their personality and how they just, for like no apparent reason, you know what I mean? Like he's still basically pulling himself up by his bootstraps.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
it's interesting to me because in the comics and even in canon, like comics and books, you'll see a guy that in Boba Fett that is more like the people's champ in a way. Like if you have a bounty on your head, he could give a crap who you are, whatever, he's going to bring you in. But if it's like if you're a bad guy and you have a bounty on your head and you're like terrorizing a town, like there's a part of him that he dislikes you more if you're that character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like he's not all business like he's portrayed in the movies and stuff. There is a moralistic side to him, if that makes sense.
Well,
so I wonder.
He's just there to get paid, but
right.
At the same time, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. He has that moral side, and I wonder if Cobb Vanth is around and Freetown is still a thing, and Boba Fett comes around. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will he be like, oh, these are good people? But that's kind of already what the Mandalorian turned into. Mm-hmm. You know? So it's a weird dynamic. I'm very, very curious.
It'd be cool to see him become the villain. Maybe team up with Gus.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
super cool.
He's already working for Moff Gideon, and that's why you see him at the end of Episode 5 because he's tracking down Mando.
Because Moff Gideon's trying to get the child back.
Yeah, well, and Boba Fett already has history working for the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the Imperial Remnant.
Yeah, as long as they have money, he could care less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's kind of got an axe to grind with the rebellion, specifically.
That is interesting. Although that puts him high mortality rate. I don't like that at all.
Well, if they make him one of the... Gus survived the whole thing. We just didn't know it.
Right.
So if he's like the, combustion man in Avatar.
Right. I really would like for them to develop like a long game. Mm-hmm. Which is what it started to feel like in The Mandalorian. That was our only, not complaint, but like if we could change something, it would be that there's a bigger plan,
That we didn't get until the very end, yeah.
The last 2 episodes were like, okay, here's the plan. Here's what we're doing. We got to reunite him with this plan. We got to figure this out,
Yeah. What's the name of his species again? I don't know. He can't tell us because he can't talk.
Man. You know what I would love that everybody would absolutely hate? If Boba Fett killed Ahsoka. That would be raw. Man, the hate would be thick. Twitter would blow up.
I think she's probably too OP at this point.
Don't care. Boba Fett's the man. He can kill anybody he wants.
More?
It's just crazy because I grew up reading the comics where him and Darth Vader went head to head, and they both survive because they're like, I'm going to cut my losses and get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's better than Darth, obviously. But I just don't like that they've nerfed him.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Whack.
We'll just have to see.
So Cobb Vanth, Mandalorian on the loose. And is he going to team up with the Mandalorian?
Is he going to team up with Boba Fett? Does it feel like maybe the Mandalorian stepped on his toes a little bit, trying to do some work on his turf? Maybe he's got an axe to grind. Maybe
that'll be interesting.
Maybe he's like, you know what? I've brought peace and justice to my new empire. I'm going to start branching out.
And then Cobb Vanth is like, your new empire.
Yeah. No.
Well, that's the Mandalorian.
Cobb Vanth is the empire.
Interesting.
In this analogy.
So I feel like the natural curve of things is Cobb and Mando, who are both kind-hearted at their core, are going to team up against my boy. If I had to pick two against the other one.
Yeah.
But Mandalorian did do a good job of throwing us some curves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never would have guessed. One of the first bounty he ever hunts is a baby Yoda. I never would have thought that. Never, ever, ever. So I'm up for it. I'm up for it. What if Cobb Vanth has been captured and put back into slavery, which he's a freed slave. That's his whole thing, Freetown. What if they put him back into slavery and he's kind of like in a gladiator thing? And that's where you see that sick Gamorrean guard that Jon Favreau posted.
Also, we have to think about the fact that Mando slighted like the entire Bounty Hunters Guild. Boba's not going to be happy about that.
Yeah. Man, there's so much stuff.
I see a lot of reasons why Boba would be against Mando.
Oh, absolutely. It's just crazy because the new canon after Episode 6 hasn't been written for Boba yet. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I'm just going off of, he wouldn't do that, but I'm not the writer.
Right.
So, like, in the Legends continuity, Boba was super against guilds. He thought it was for wussies. He literally joined the Bounty Hunters Guild in the Mandalorian armor so that he could destroy it from the inside out because it meant more coin for him, because every man for themselves is better for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just crazy. So
can't unionize.
We'll see. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
It's close to the end of May, right? Mm-hmm. And CEO of Disney says there's no delay. That Mandalorian will still be out October. So May, so June, July, September, October. It's not that far.
Just another quarantine away.
August. Wow. I can't. That's embarrassing. May. I was so excited I skipped a month. I couldn't wait for it to get here. I went to 5 and I was like,
maybe if we get a second wave of quarantine, they'll just be like, here's Mandalorian.
June, July, August, September, October. 5 months until Mandalorian.
It's like,
also,
3.5.
What is the deal with... How is this working? If it's going to happen on time, I guess they're just going to edit in a hurry because all these characters are being casted for season 2. Like, I went back and reread and I was like, are we sure Timur Morrison isn't for season 3? Because I'm feeling like they're getting close to the end.
I mean, like, they could be done with shooting and they're just now releasing who's been cast.
That's what I figured.
You think so?
It's 100% plausible.
That's true because, here's a little news. I don't watch wrestling, but there's a girl from the WWE that was supposedly cast as Sabine, and her scenes have already been filmed. I did hear about that. And again, not super excited about Rebels 2, also known as The Mandalorian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't
a
massive fan of Rebels 1.
What if the guy that plays Mr. Krabs turns into Zeb?
Don't get me started.
That would be wild.
I'm going into the Avatar state.
Just raging.
Freaking destroy the house.
But right. I trust Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau more than I trust anybody else with Star Wars material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Favreau brought us Mandalorian Season 1. And Dave Filoni just finished giving us the best Star Wars we've seen in a good while. So, Sabine is cast, supposedly. So is Ahsoka. So is
Cobb
Rex,
Vanth.
supposedly.
Perhaps.
What is going on? But another Rebels character means I'm one step closer to Thrawn on the big screen, my friends. I'll sacrifice. Make the sacrifice! That's my Palpatine. I would, you know what? I would let the Mandalorian be ruined to see Thrawn on screen for 5 seconds. Sacrifices must be made. I don't know. Be interesting. So, well, we could keep going forever, but Cobb Vanth. So, if you haven't read the Aftermath trilogy, if you're just wanting to get Cobb Vanth's story, my thing is I would go online and just get on Wikipedia because
Wikipedia has a great synopsis.
You're getting, I'm going to read these anyway.
3 for the price of
I've read them
none.
already. But you're going through 3 books for like less than 20 pages of material. So just get on Wikipedia, check it out. Really cool character. I think Timothy Olyphant is going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, he's perfect.
And we're less than half a year away if we aren't just dead by then to see Mandalorian Season 2. Cool? All right, so we'll see you guys next week. May the Force be with you.
And remember, the only family you have yet is me. Got it. I added it.
Sick.
All right.
See y'all next time.
Have a good one.